Hey everyone, my name is Chris Lambert, and on this channel we talk Kanye West and say hey to my assistant down there, Archer. Today we're going to be going over this rumor that emerged in the wake of Kanye tweeting his contract, which was that Jay-Z actually sold the masters to Kanye's albums, thus screwing Kanye out of ownership of his albums, all to get his own masters. Like, so Jay-Z could own his own masters, which this thing got some legs and carried on. But before we get into that discussion, we're going to cover some loose ends from the wake of Kanye tweeting the contract. So first up, this Mary Mandefield had tweeted, "There's a guy blasting Kanye songs outside of Universal's offices. Security don't really know what to do with him." And like, just there he is, like some setup, and he's blaring Kanye music, which is pretty awesome. People were talking about protesting Universal. This guy got a jump on everyone else. And you can see that Scuffy Boats here just said Yeezy Militia getting busy. So one of the dominoes that have fallen since Kanye tweeted his contracts. And then here, Kanye's still blocked on Twitter, according to academics. I did see this photo going out, which maybe it did and I just missed it. I'm not seeing everything that's sent out, but I also think academics is like a joke of a person. So a part of me is just like, I think this is fake, because it says that it's Kanye tweeting at Jack, the head of Twitter, and saying, "I don't know how to get to my page. You can't log in. No, this is what it shows. Getting team on it. Team says you shouldn't have been locked out. Investigating," which, like, Kanye had tweeted the phone number for Randall Lane, the chief, like, editor-in-chief of Forbes. So it seemed like clear to everyone why he was locked out of his account, which I don't know why Jack would say, like, you shouldn't have been. Though if you're trying to placate Kanye, you tell him you shouldn't have been. Like, you didn't do anything wrong. You're fine. And then here. So I don't know where academics got the photo, but interesting if true, and if not true, fuck academics. But either way, yeah, kind of academics. Ugh. But Kanye got back on Twitter. He's fine. Like, we're going to be discussing so many Kanye tweets, so don't worry about that. And then here we have Wale coming out in support of Kanye. Vicious backdoor shit be going on in this business. The gag is when your lawyer and manager are old friends, and you didn't know that until you signed some bullshit. And now folks wonder why you angry all the time. Y'all only get to feel who you want to feel, though. By that last comment, like, you're only going to believe Kanye if you want to believe Kanye. You're not going to feel what he's saying if you don't want to feel what he's saying. But that Kanye's telling the truth, because there's some backdoor shady stuff that goes on. Sometimes the signs be directly in y'all face. Artists in situations where they're cornered in, this shit be dark. Hate my management situation for like 2 years now. I just love my fans more. 1 out of 10 of these folks be genuine. So just, there's a lot of backstabbing, a lot of faking in the music industry. Like, Wale, amongst others, have all spoken up saying, like, yeah, Kanye's telling the truth. Like, I've had this bad experience. I've had this bad experience. My contract sucks, etc., etc. It's pretty clear that something's broken. I feel like only the people I've seen kind of arguing against Kanye are people that are more have a problem that it's Kanye saying this, right, rather than what Kanye's saying. So even Joe Budden coming through saying, "The man who invented the bundle package only to be stopped from using it." And it's a similar photo to what Kanye tweeted of Prince. It wasn't standard. Same bundle package implemented by most artist labels today. Talk about theft of generational wealth. His fam fought over his estate while people for the rest of eternity will feed their families off of his IP. Ye needs his masters back and the board seats. The board seats, Kanye said he wanted the board seat at Adidas and Gap. The battle rappers need to be in the caffeine deal. New century, new era, new technology with the same tricks from the same people, done to the exact same people. So these companies are just using the same tricks as the music industry, and it's the same people involved in those industries using it on artists, right? At least respect us enough to update the scam. Shake my head. Pac said he might not change the world, but he would inspire the mind that would. And Nip said it's a marathon. So I hate to break it to folks, but this is how I'm on it till I'm gone. You don't have to like it, just get out of the way. It is what it is. And Joe himself has been on a Kanye-like warpath when it comes to what he was going through with Spotify and podcasting and what they wanted from him, what they wanted him to do, and how unfair he felt the deal was, which it seemed like a deal that was going to be hugely beneficial for both, and that it ended in the first year because Joe was so upset with how Spotify was handling things. And you can see here that Fat Joe responded, "I've been independent for 15 years, paying for my own shit because I own my shit. Everyone takes that advance and sells their souls. It's time they own their shit." Like, you're getting a $2.3 million advance like Kanye was for late registration. You think this is great until you're making way less money in the long term because of everything else that the record label is doing, all the fees that they're saying, all the things that they say they owe, the cut that they're taking, and you lose out in the long run, especially regarding the masters and the licensing fees and all of that. Chance the Rapper saying, "Speak on it." Chance also famously independent. Steve Stout saying, "Amen, United Masters." And Stout, you can see that Don Lennon here saying, "Ha, this is hilarious," in response to Stout, just because Stout was the one that got semi-called out by Kanye. But that more had to do with the fact that Stout was saying telling people not to vote for Kanye for president, despite the relationship and friendship that he's had with Kanye, which I understand. You could still like Kanye, support Kanye overall, but think he shouldn't be president. Or in this election, not to vote for Kanye because people keep saying it's too important to have a third-party candidate split the votes. I get that reason and logic, but I don't think that makes it hypocritical or bad for Stout to support Kanye in everything else, right? Especially this endeavor. And it seems that he started United Masters as kind of a way to help artists, like a for artists group that's helping with masters and record label deals and the like. And then here, okay, now getting to the Jay-Z part. Ready? Okay. So you had the Authority here, who, a man as simple as that, music mogul, ultra black is all that it says, 8,000 followers. Kanye contract summary. Apart from the inducement which Kanye had to sign to get his advances, this shows that Jay-Z sold the masters to first 6 Kanye West albums just so he could get his own back. He did so knowing Def Jam won't sell them back to Kanye in the future. That's beef. And you just read that and you're like, what? But you click on these contract pages and there's nothing really here that says anything like damning. Really, all it says is that Rockefeller has these options, like for the 6 albums, right? And then at the bottom here, you can see that initial, College Dropout, then first option, second option, all the way up to the 6th album. That's really all that the contract is getting at, but it's showing that Rockefeller had ownership of it. So I think what the Authority was saying is that because Rockefeller had ownership, when Jay sold Rockefeller to Def Jam, he was selling Kanye. But that's not really how it comes off, right? He's just saying that it sounds like Jay-Z actively, specifically sold Kanye's masters away so that he could get his own back, when really it was Jay-Z selling all of Rockefeller, along with Dame Dash and the third party. And that part of that deal might have been that Jay was getting his masters back since he was now the president of Def Jam, right? That it wasn't just Kanye, but every single Rockefeller artist, which might be even colder, right? Because it's Jay-Z benefiting at the expense of all his artists, but at the same time, it's still like the way things were. And Jay was just doing what he needed to do. If he had held out, there still wasn't much that he was going to be able to do, I don't think, given the industry is what it is. But you can see that Kings of Leon here, posted by Ghost Bubbles, said, "This is how fabricated news gets spread around. This excerpt is dated circa 2002 when Kanye signed with Rockefeller, and it was the only deal he had since his deal with Capitol fell through. So it's no surprise that he signed this deal where his debut plus 6 subsequent albums were to be delivered via Rockefeller. Labels owning their artists' masters was and is still the norm, so that's not surprising. Also, Def Jam started out as a minority partner with Rockefeller, but then took majority ownership later on when Jay, Dame, and Biggs sold their combined 50% share to Def Jam, so that meant Def Jam now owned Rockefeller and all their masters. The reason Jay got to keep his masters is because he got the position of being president of Def Jam. He wanted to give that up and all his other masters in exchange for the Reasonable Doubt masters, but Def Jam said no. he never had the kind of leverage to negotiate another artist's masters. So kind of absolving Jay-Z in a way and just saying like, this is business, the way that I was just saying. But I actually showed this to the authority guy. I was like, do you have a comment on like this tweet? And the authority guy is just like, this guy is stupid. Reasonable Doubt was released under Priority Records and Def Jam had no claim to it, which kind of throws off this idea that Jay-Z was trying to give everything else up so he could have the Reasonable Doubt masters, since Def Jam wouldn't have been involved in that conversation. Dame refused to share in Jay-Z masters while everyone else's were sold, most especially the Grammy Award-winning Kanye West, who has 6 albums to go and was still at his mom's. So I don't know if that means that they could have negotiated specifically in favor of Kanye or a specific artist or anything like that, but it just seems like they didn't. There's a part of the contract where Kanye is given a recording advance from a duet album, and a defunct Rockefeller gets 15% of that advance coming. From Def Jam's parent company, and Jay was gone from 2007 already, he sold dudes off to the dogs and not what he promised us he'd do on Izzo. Yeah, that's weird that Rockefeller would still get 15% of the advance when Rockefeller really didn't exist anymore. That's just money that's going to Jay-Z on top of? Strange. So that's kind of like where that was at. But then Kanye himself got word of this because academics, again, tweeted about it or posted about it on Instagram. So Jay-Z allegedly sold Kanye's masters to get his own masters. And here's the post. And Kanye says, don't let the system pit us against each other, which is something to what Jay-Z said after he had written a lyric in like a Drake song or Meek Mill song where it talked about like red hats and Cap, and people are like, oh, he's calling out Kanye. And Jay-Z actually tweeted like, don't pit me against my brother. Like that had nothing to do, like it wasn't a diss on Kanye, like blah, 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 blah. And Kanye's returning the same energy. Don't let the system pit us against each other. Jay is my brother. I have eternal love for all artists that have been through and are still trapped in this crooked system. Jay still doesn't get his own masters back for 10 years. I will see to it that we all get our masters. And that's kind of the big revelation that Kanye's bringing to it. So where the authority said that Jay-Z did this in order to get his masters, and now like Jay-Z's getting rich off of his masters is kind of the takeaway that you get from that. Kanye's saying that like Jay still doesn't have his masters, and it's another 10 years until that happens. I don't know if Kanye knows this from like extensive talks with Jay-Z, like just knowing contract stuff about it, or where Kanye's information is regarding this, especially since like he and Jay aren't as close as they used to be. So if this is old information that's outdated, if this is just current information that Kanye still knows, but according to Kanye, Jay still doesn't have his masters back even with this deal. So I guess tweets like this, you just need to take them with a grain of salt. It got 4.8 thousand likes, 4.3 thousand retweets. I mean, it got my like, it got my retweets without me really thinking more of it. So I'm just as guilty in this situation as anyone else, right? But then you have other people like coming out with information. And that's one of the, I guess, the interesting things, or if you want to talk about like everything I'm not, maybe everything I am, or can't tell me nothing. Like Kanye talks about the fact that the things that he does and says, that even when they're wrong, help educate him and grow him and mature him, because people are quick to tell you you're wrong and provide you with accurate information. So while you might have people that like condemn someone for retweeting this or not looking it up and doing the research, and it spreads and there's that misinformation that spreads, at the same time it also does give the opportunity for people to learn more through the conversations that follow. I think there's irresponsible ways that happens, like in the media, when they don't cover the response and the information that comes out that could change the story. But when it's something like this, just like going wild on social media, even if you don't have all the info, like taking the time to try to educate yourself and learn more and listen to people and get more of the perspectives on it, you can really take a situation that is bad in terms of like bad news, rumors, or what have you, and learn from it and gain something from it. So I feel like I definitely learned from the first tweet to getting to where Kanye tweeted, just more about Rockefeller, more about the deal, more about Kanye's contract. So a good life lesson in this case. But Kanye seems to have the final word at this time on this topic. Ending pitch? Yeah. So if you're enjoying the channel and you want to support Archer and I and Travis, doesn't make an appearance on the YouTube channel a lot, but this is an extension of our podcast. If you want to support us, the easiest way is liking, subscribing, or commenting. As any of those three things let YouTube know that this is a channel people enjoy. If you want to go a step beyond that, the thing that we're most well known for is our line-by-line lyrical analysis of Kanye's discography. As much as I talk about Kanye news on the channel, that's not my bread and butter. The bread and butter is the song analyses, and they are deep and compelling, and I will say will forever change the way that you listen to Kanye's discography. So maybe you've listened to an episode here and there, maybe you haven't, but we're actually going back through his discography for the second time, just because we learned so much on the first time and had already done episodes when we were learning things about the album from later episodes. And we just wanted to kind of take what we've learned and reapply it and have some deeper meanings. And I think our late registration episodes are just like awesome. If I can kind of pat myself on the back here, there's a lot of information there. So these episodes will be available for free on our public feed in like 3 to 6 months. But if you want to support us now for just, $5 a month and have access to all of these episodes, both the new ones and the old ones, you can go to patreon.com/Kanye podcast or find the link below. And we're releasing 2 episodes a week. So we'll finish up with late registration in a few weeks, dive into graduation, 808s, so on and so forth. And you'll get all that content for $5. Man, I think it's a deal, Anyway, until next time, stay wavy and keep it loopy. Cheers.